Hi, I'm Dave Clark and I'm working with the Kingsbridge Dementia Friendly community to find out more about dementia, what businesses can do to be more dementia friendly, how we can all access information and support, and how we can ensure that the younger generation are also included in the picture. In this podcast, I'm talking with Anne about her experience supporting her own parents and her work in providing help and advice to others, both with dementia and their carers.
I became involved with dementia and dementia support initially through my own personal experiences. My dad had dementia, and both my stepdad and my mum have dementia at present. I think it's quite common for people to look back and say, oh yeah, I noticed that was a little bit different then, and so forth. So you sort of look back and you think, actually, yeah, mum was forgetful then, or mum did that really strange thing with the laundry or the washing up that time, or whatever. So there might be little sort of clues when you look back and you can identify them. Maybe you don't at the time, or maybe you don't want to. First of all, I went through the Alzheimer's Society, so lots of information there online, and from there I found out about local support services. So, for example, the local Devon and Torbay Dementia Advisor Service for people, support people that have got dementia, and they also support other family members as well. My parents are now actually a little bit further down the line, so that would be making sure that they can pay their bills, that they've got a roof over their head, and that they're as happy as can be expected. So it's not excluding people from doing things, it's actually doing things with them.
What kind of support and information would you be able to give somebody who's a carer?
For a carer, what I do is actually look at some of the issues they're experiencing. So, for example, say somebody was finding they weren't coping anymore. Devon Carers is a local organisation that supports carers specifically. We'd look at things like making sure that they got the support in place that they needed. So, for example, support with the person that they're caring for. And the other thing is maybe they need some emotional support. Finding out if there's any respite, so encouraging people to go out, to take those opportunities to keep their interests going as much as possible. Make sure they've got that emotional support, so that there's to try and alleviate those senses of guilt that so many people experience as well.
So in terms of support and information for somebody who's actually has dementia, what kind of information or support do you provide them with?
So that could be on a day-to-day basis if there's a day-to-day issues around staying active, so going along to cafes where there is an awareness of dementia, maybe seeing what they like to do and encouraging them to do that, or finding ways that they might do that. So, for example, if somebody was interested in knitting, the library's got a knit and natter group. So very practical things like that. If people living on their own, it might be a question of actually making sure that they're properly caring for themselves and making sure they've got any care support in place that they need to. If it's initial stages, it's actually encouraging people to stay involved and to stay sort of not to isolate themselves, because it's very easy when you suddenly become aware that you're not remembering people's names or something to say, oh, I won't go because I don't want to upset anyone by forgetting their name or something like that. So it's to encourage people to go along. So putting them in touch with places that might be a little bit more dementia aware, maybe as a memory cafe or those sorts of events. If you get a diagnosis of a dementia, it's great to carry on living well as you can, but thinking for the future. So getting things in place in the first instance so that you don't have to worry about them down the line. It's things like getting your lasting power of attorney in place and a will, that sort of thing. It's stuff we should all really be doing, but we don't. We put it to one side. And so you can be a bit smug if you've got that kind of out the way. And then also things about making sure your financial position is sorted. So accessing things like the Care Funding Council, which is a free website where they'll put you in touch with some friendly financial advisor which give you some initial information. So things like that. So that's the longer term stuff. On a day-to-day basis, things like living well. So making sure you're eating properly, making sure you're drinking properly, going out there and enjoying things that you've always done, maybe trying something new. If you've got a local dementia-friendly community group, how about joining that? And actually feeding in so that you can help your community raise their awareness. Some people get a sense of fulfilment by actually sort of identifying things that they can do or they can contribute to, and get something back from that, because it's obviously very rewarding. You can live well with dementia, and to take advantage of all the support that is out there. Be aware of what the support is and stay involved. Stay doing things. Whatever your interests are, stay involved. And as things change, if they change, then perhaps the thing to do is look at adapting what you're doing rather than giving it up. But stay connected, I think. Whoever the service user is, what we try to do is keep in touch with them, and we have a phone number so they can get in touch if they've got something that they want to ask, and we can go from there. Maybe we'll go and visit them, or maybe we can give the information on the phone.
And I guess one of the things they can do is find out a little bit more about the Kingsbridge Dementia Friendly Community.
Absolutely, yeah. And there's a website there for... Not everybody I know uses online information, but there is a website there. There's lots of posters around. They have events locally, like a time for tea on a Friday afternoon at the Edgecombe Sound Building, which is dementia aware. It's not specifically for people with dementia. It's just so that if people feel comfortable that they can make that step, like we were talking earlier about making that step, to go out and not feel too worried that they're not going to be understood. We used to hear about the C word with cancer and so forth a few years back, and now I've heard people say, well, actually it's like the D word. But I think over time people are changing. There is less of a stigma, and I think by raising that awareness, we all help to reduce that stigma until it's completely disappeared. You're still you, even though you have a diagnosis, aren't you? So, if you enjoy walking, great. That sort of thing about staying mentally fit, socially fit, and physically fit is good use for all of us. So, and that, there's evidence to show that keeps our brains active and keeps us sort of going on for longer. So although there isn't anything that cures dementia at the moment, there are ways you can live well to sort of help carry on enjoy for the moment. I mean, let's face it, nobody knows what's around the corner, do they?
You've been listening to Dementia Lives, and my thanks go to Anne for speaking to us about the different aspects of care and the options for finding out more about the organisations that offer practical advice, help and support. If you'd like to find out more, please search for Kingsbridge Dementia Friendly Community. It's possible to live well with dementia. This has been a How production. Thanks for listening. Please share and subscribe.